In a small village nestled between rolling hills and vast savanna plains, where the morning dew kissed the leaves of ancient baobab trees, lived a woman named Bizi. She was known throughout the land for her extraordinary beauty, skin as smooth as shea butter and eyes that sparkled like stars in the midnight sky. But more than her beauty, Bizi was known for something that both amazed and troubled her fellow villagers. She could not stop giving birth to children, even though she had no husband. The story of Bizi's peculiar circumstance began on an ordinary market day. She had gone to sell her freshly harvested yams, carefully arranged in woven baskets that her grandmother had taught her to make. As she sat under the shade of a massive mango tree, an elderly woman approached her stall. The woman's white hair glowed like moonbeams, and her wrinkled face held wisdom in every crease. "My child," the old woman said, her voice as soft as windswept grass, "I see the loneliness in your heart. You desire children, but fate has not brought you a husband." Bizi looked down at her hands, calloused from working in the fields. "Yes, mother. I am 25 rainy seasons old, and still, no man has asked for my hand. The other women whisper that I am cursed." The old woman clicked her tongue and reached into the folds of her wrapper. She pulled out a small calabash decorated with cowrie shells and intricate patterns. "Take this," she said, pressing it into Bizi's hands. "Each night when the moon is full, drink from it, and your womb will be blessed with life. But remember this warning: once you start, you must never stop, or great misfortune will befall you and your children." Before Bizi could ask more questions, the old woman disappeared into the bustling market crowd, leaving behind only the faint scent of herbs and wood smoke. Bizi examined the calabash, turning it over in her hands. The pattern seemed to shift and dance in the sunlight, and a sweet aroma wafted from within.
Welcome to my channel, African Bedtime Folk Tales. This is where you ought to be. Please subscribe to this channel. Back to the main story.
That night, as the full moon hung like a ripe orange in the sky, Bizi sat in her compound, contemplating the old woman's gift. The desire for children burned in her heart like hot coals. In her village, a woman without children was considered incomplete, like a pot without a bottom or a song without rhythm. With trembling hands, she raised the calabash to her lips and drank the liquid inside. It tasted like honey mixed with morning dew and something else she couldn't quite name. 9 months later, Bizi gave birth to her first child, a beautiful baby girl with eyes that seemed to hold all the wisdom of the ancestors. The village buzzed with speculation. Who was the father? How could she bear a child without a husband? But Bizi remained silent, cradling her daughter and singing lullabies passed down through generations. When the next full moon came, Bizi remembered the old woman's warning. Despite her joy at having one child, she felt compelled to drink from the calabash again. 9 months later, twins arrived, 2 boys with voices that could charm birds from the trees. With each full moon, Bizi drank from the mysterious calabash, and 9 months later, another child would join her growing family. Her compound, once quiet and lonely, now overflowed with the sounds of children laughing, crying, and playing. The villagers' initial suspicion turned to amazement, then concern, and finally acceptance. They watched as Bizi's children grew strong and healthy, each possessing unique gifts. Her firstborn daughter became known for her ability to heal the sick with herbs and prayers. The twins could find water in the driest earth, leading the village to new wells during drought seasons. Each child seemed blessed with special abilities that benefited the community. But raising so many children alone was no easy task. Bizi worked from sunrise to sunset, farming her land, weaving baskets, and selling goods at the market. Her older children helped care for the younger ones, creating a chain of support that stretched like a mighty baobab's roots. The village women, seeing her determination and love for her children, began to help, sharing their food, clothes, and wisdom. Years passed, and Bizi's compound became a small village within the village. 20 children, 30, 40, each one bringing new joy and new challenges. Her home became known as the House of Many Blessings, and people would travel from far and wide to seek advice from the woman who could bear children without a husband. One day, as Bizi sat surrounded by her children, some now parents themselves, a young woman approached her compound. Her eyes were filled with the same loneliness Bizi had known so many years ago. "Mother Bizi," the young woman said, "I too am childless and unwed. Tell me your secret." Bizi looked at the calabash, which had never emptied despite the many years of use. She remembered the old woman's warning and the blessing that had changed her life. But before she could respond, she noticed something strange. The patterns on the calabash began to shift and swirl, and in them, she saw the face of the elderly woman from the market, smiling knowingly. At that moment, Bizi understood. The old woman had been no ordinary market vendor but a manifestation of the goddess of fertility herself. The blessing had not just been about bearing children, it was about creating a community, about turning loneliness into love, and emptiness into abundance. "My child," Busy said to the young woman, "the secret is not in any magic calabash. It is in understanding that there are many ways to create family, many ways to fill a home with love. Some of my children came from my womb, yes, but others came from my heart, orphans who needed a mother, children of relatives who could not care for them, young ones who simply needed a home." As if to confirm her words, the calabash in her hands dissolved into a shower of golden light, scattering like fireflies in the evening air. Her children gasped in wonder, but Busy only smiled. The blessing had served its purpose. She had learned that motherhood was not about how children came into your life, but about the love and care you gave them once they arrived. The young woman stayed with Busy, becoming like another daughter, and eventually adopted 2 orphan children from a neighboring village. Busy's family continued to grow, not through magic, but through the natural expansion of love and community. Years later, when people spoke of Busy, they told different versions of her story. Some said she had borne 60 children, others 100. Some claimed the old woman was a goddess, others a wise ancestor. But all agreed on one thing: Busy had transformed what could have been a curse of loneliness into a blessing that touched not just her life, but the lives of generations to come. Her compound remained a place of joy and learning, where children were taught the old ways alongside the new, where wisdom was passed down like precious beads on a string. The sound of laughter and song never ceased, and the aroma of cooking fires always wafted through the air, welcoming any who needed a home. As Busy grew old, her hair turning as white as the market woman's had been, she would sit under the same mango tree where her journey began, surrounded by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. She would tell them the story of the magical calabash, but more importantly, she would teach them about the real magic, the power of love to create families in unexpected ways. "Remember," she would say, her voice carrying the weight of wisdom earned through years of motherhood, "a family is not just about blood that flows in your veins. It's about the love that flows from your heart. Sometimes the greatest blessings come disguised as challenges, and the most precious gifts may not come in the ways we expect." The village itself had grown larger and more prosperous, in no small part due to the contributions of Busy's children and their various talents. The healing knowledge of her firstborn daughter had saved countless lives. The wells discovered by her twins had turned barren land into fertile fields. Each child had brought their own gift to the community, proving that blessings multiply when shared. Even after Busy's passing, her legacy lived on. The House of Many Blessings became a sanctuary for those in need of family, a place where the definition of motherhood expanded beyond traditional boundaries. Her story was told and retold, changing slightly with each telling, but always carrying the same essential truth: that the capacity to love and nurture is limitless, that family can be created in many ways, and that sometimes the most powerful magic is simply opening one's heart to the possibilities that life presents. And so, in villages across the land, when people speak of Busy, they do not just tell the tale of a woman who could not stop giving birth. They tell the story of a woman who taught them that motherhood is not just about bearing children, but about bearing love, hope, and wisdom for generations to come. Some say that on full moon nights, if you listen carefully near the old mango tree in the marketplace, you can still hear the gentle laugh of an elderly woman and the tinkling of cowrie shells on a magical calabash, reminding all who hear it that the greatest miracles often come not from magic potions, but from the boundless capacity of the human heart to love and nurture, to create family from strangers, and to turn loneliness into a symphony of joy.
If you love this story, please subscribe to this channel and turn on your notification button. See you all in the next video. Thanks.